All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. I really appreciate it. We are having the Next Level Conference today, and this is Emily Gerber, and then we have Russell from HR Architecture. You want to say hi, Russell?
Good afternoon.
And then we have Kara, who works, she's out of Idaho, and she works for the Department of Energy. She's going to talk about security, cybersecurity.
Hi.
So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm just going to, hang on. Okay. I wanted to let you know that we have prizes that we're going to be talking about at the end. Also at the end, I'll be giving information out through an email, so that'll be really good. Any of the resources that we've talked about, I will be sure to share those with you as well, and through an email. So if we don't have your email address, we're going to, oh, that's fine. That's fine, Mark. He's just going to listen. So if we don't have your email address, would you just put it in the side comment or send me a direct message on Facebook or somehow, and then we'll get the email to you with all of this good stuff. So thank you for coming. And again, I will be posting this on Facebook afterwards. So if you have any questions, or if you know of companies that weren't able to make it, business owners, feel free to let them know about that, and we will, and then they can watch it at their leisure today through tomorrow. We'll have it, and if I'm really lazy, I won't take it down till Saturday night. So just go ahead and watch it as much as you can, and then we'll have it up on my website after that. So to get started, I'll introduce myself. I'm Emily Gerber, Gerber Business Solutions. I really love working with different people and connecting with different businesses. A long time ago, I had this dream that if I had all the time in the world, I would go to every business and learn everything about every business, because I think businesses are really fun and exciting, and that I'm just really intrigued by the different solutions that people come up with for their problems, and I just love how we can learn from each other from every industry to each other. So that's part of how I started to do consulting work. I'm going through my MBA, and I have an undergrad right now. My undergrad is in business management, and I have a minor in sociology. And my MBA will be done at the end of the summer. Woohoo! Thanks for all of your help, those companies that I've bugged and gotten some feedback from you on some of my projects. I really appreciate that. And so that's why I do what I do. We're going to go ahead and get started. Without further ado, I'll just get started on my topic, which is affiliate marketing and negotiations. This is something I'm really excited about. It's something that small business owners, maybe you've been looking through looking through Pinterest and looking through Facebook, and you've seen a whole bunch of different approaches to getting bigger, larger engagement and larger audience, and maybe you're not quite sure how to approach it. I was talking to someone earlier today even, and just about the different options that there are available and the different approaches people have. You see these, I like to call them kind of, get rich quick, or like these people, these bloggers that are really successful, and they claim that they have the solution. I kind of like to take a different approach. I'm a more hard work and it pays off type of person, but I really feel that there are solutions out there that if you're committed and consistent, they will really pay off for you in the long run. And that's what we need, is good consistency to build engagement with real people that really respond to your product and won't get tired of it right away. So affiliate marketing is kind of the idea that if you talk to different companies, or if you strategize what your brand is, that you can get different options of, working with someone else and getting a percentage of their of their income if someone that you refer to them buys the product. So that's kind of the basic idea, and I'm just going to switch to screen share to show you a little bit more in detail about what I mean here. So let me pull that up. Okay. All right. Hopefully all goes well. It's always, oh, hey, there's a little free trial. Prezi is great. Okay, so now I'm going to try that again. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so I'm talking today about making your own business luck. I really believe, like I said, that you can make your own luck. There's luck, and there's hard work, and there's affiliate programs that can help you to gain a lot of this insight. The first thing you need to do is collect your ideas. So I grew up in a very low income neighborhood, and something that I was taught from a very young age was you can always do something to change your situation. You can always do something to change where you're at. So the first thing you need to do is look at what skills you have. So, look at the things that you're good at, the things that you're interested in, but maybe might need a little more training on. Second thing is to look at current trends that are going on. Now, how are those current trends going to affect society and affect the business world? And how can you come up with an idea that implements those current trends? So I really learned a lot from that, to work hard and to put my skills to use and to not give up on trying new things. I believe everyone can do that as well. So talking about affiliate marketing, the technical term affiliate marketing means passive income, or you're just sitting around and the income is coming to you. It sounds fun and easy, and it can be, but there are some rigid restrictions and regulations that you have to go through to register for these types of programs. You need to align yourself. You need to, first of all, think about the companies that are offering these programs and think if they are worth aligning with. Do they match your business model? Are they a good partner for you and for your product or service? So the types of programs that they have available right now are pay per sale. That's for, just like I was mentioning, like, for instance, Amazon has all of these products available. And if you align your business with them, fill out their affiliate marketing paperwork, and if they approve you as an affiliate partner, then you can get a percentage of a sale for a link that they'll give you a link that's specialized just for you, and you put it on your product. So you put it on your website, you can put it on videos that you make, you can say, buy now, this is what I recommend, and you can do all those fun things. An example of how that's worked out really well is a client of mine that is a martial arts company. They were really good. They are really good at martial arts classes, and they take their family with them on trips and things like that. So they really like to travel. And then they got into making YouTube videos with their kids. For instance, like a video about how to stop bullying at school, and they would have this kind of like Power Rangers feel behind it. So the kids are doing this interactive video. These videos are gathering a large audience. That's another thing that you really want to do. And and then they started to do affiliate marketing. So they worked with Amazon, and they would, the costumes that the kids are wearing in these videos, I think they've had up to 10 million views on a lot of theirs and higher. So they would have these affiliate links. If you like our video, feel free to go to Amazon, buy this costume. And they did a lot of sales for Amazon around Halloween time, for instance. But that's just an example of how you can use affiliate marketing as long as it aligns with your product or service. Some of these you really need to build. You need to be the kind of company that has a large following first. That can be kind of tricky if you're in an office and you don't really have a whole lot of following. You don't want to do this before you have a large following. You want to build the following with something like media, and definitely having a social media platform so that you can get the word out to people easily and quickly, and then it'll be worth your registering and the whole process, because it can really be tricky. Pay-per-click, just like it says, you get paid for every time that somebody clicks something. Pay-per-lead, same thing there as well. And I'll be sending out more information about each of these programs. So business partnerships, here's the top 10 according to Google. The top 10 residual companies, that means people that will give you money for partnering or affiliating with them. Amazon is the one that I feel like is the most well-known, but they're number 4 on this. So you see that there are quite a lot of different ones. Each one of these has a different registration process and restrictions, and you kind of have to follow their rules. So if you play their game well, and if it's worth your time, or you have someone in your office that can handle this and do it for you, then it might work out well for you. So how? So you need to register with them and post the link, and then continue to think of creative ways that you can market the products that you're affiliating. So if you have a link and that's the way that you're going, then think outside the box. Gather some ideas. Think, because this martial arts studio, they didn't have videos beforehand. Like they started to create these videos, and then they got successful, and then they thought, oh, what else can we do to bring in money? We're already doing these videos. It won't take too much more effort for us to go one more step and to create these links where we can get residual income while we're already getting viewership. Another one that they do along with that is just doing the ads, allowing the ads to be on their videos so they get passive income that way as well. So think outside the box, write a blog article and have that blog article tied into your social media, and have the social media tied into an event that you do, and have the event that you do, wear some of the apparel that you have the link for. And those are some ideas for ways to, creative ways to keep in the affiliate world there. Collaborations. So another way to think outside the box and gather income is to collaborate with other companies. Now, this is different than affiliate marketing. Affiliate is where you're building a relationship and maybe just on more of like a paperwork level with a company. This is more person to person or business to business. You are seeing a company, for instance, a chocolate chip company. There's this really great chocolate chip company that will deliver chocolate chips to you in the middle of the night. And we are signing a collaboration with them to have them deliver for our clients, and we will advertise for them. So we're a collaboration with them. We're going to do a promo with them, like a video promo, and that's one way that we can both boost each other is through this collaboration. So it's basically making friends with businesses. You need to think about the business that you want to align yourself with, what they have, and what you have to offer. So for instance, Starbucks, they were doing really well on their own, but they just were having people come into their shop. So they were kind of tied down to location. Although in Seattle area where I'm from, location, they really had just about every corner. So that's location. I mean, they don't feel too bad, but they were able to branch out when they made a deal with PepsiCo. PepsiCo had PepsiCo has the bottling and the storefronts, and they have everything that that Starbucks didn't have. They could get into stores and into people's homes, where Starbucks, the people had to come to them. So that's an idea of how you can collaborate with a company. You team up with them, think about how they can help you and how you can help them. My favorite part is negotiations. I am, at heart, I'm kind of a timid person, and I always was afraid of entering into negotiations. I felt like this word is like a mafia word, or where you're like, you have to come out ahead, and you have to be the top dog, and you have to be strong, and you have to not back down. And some of that is true, but with the techniques that I've learned, I have realized that anyone can negotiate, and there are tactics that you can use as long as you're prepared and know what you're talking about. You can come out with a win-win situation where both of you are happy. It's not just a winner-takes-all type of situation. So I want to talk about prepare. You need to prepare for negotiations. You need to think about what types of things the other person or the other company needs. When you're doing negotiations, you might think about something as silly as, you're strapped for cash and you wish that something was free with one of the vendors that you're working with. So you can actually talk to them and ask if you can do a trade, or ask if you can, you open up the conversation and say, I'd really like to talk to you more about being able to provide some of these services for you in trade for something that you need. So an example of that is a business owner that I know of has who does a time card company and invoicing company. I was looking for ways to quit FreshBooks. It's a really good product, but I needed to, at the time, save some money. So I looked around and I found a company that was a small business owner who just was designing this product, out of home, and it had everything that I needed. So I was able to work with him and help him with his business as trade for me testing out his product. That's something that you don't normally get if you're working with larger companies, but it's an area where you can save some money, and as long as you're helping someone else out and also. So another way to prepare, what do they need? What do you need? And then take that and quantify that information as much as you can into time and money, because we all know that time and money speaks to people. If you can save them time and if you can save them money, then it's going to be of interest to them. And then come up with different scenarios that you're okay with. Choose 3 that are your top favorites. And then define where you draw the line. So if there's something that you're not willing to go below a certain dollar amount, or you're not willing to go more than a certain number of hours for them, make sure that you include that as well. The next step is to actually set an appointment. You're going to want to go in and do this face-to-face. This will stick better, It will show them that you are sincere, and it will be a better way to, it's a better way to do business. They'll take you more seriously and they won't brush you off because you'll be right there and you set the appointment ahead of time. Make sure that they know and they're not just being tricked into this appointment. Make sure they know, I'd like to talk to you about some opportunities for us to collaborate together, or I'd like to talk to you about lowering my bill, or I'd like to talk to you about, you know, whatever it is that you've decided. So give them some options of times as well, and then make sure that you don't give up on that. So the next step when you do meet with them, when you're going to go through these steps that I'm going to tell you about, and then you're going to make sure that you give them an offer that they can't refuse. So I don't know if you can hear this, but this is a line from The Godfather. So basically, he's going to make him an offer that he can't refuse. Make sure, and not in the mafia sense, but this is true in negotiations. You're going to want to make sure that as you go through the negotiations, you do give them an offer that they will not refuse. So one way to break that down, when you get to that point, I'll tell you in a minute. First thing that you're going to want to do when you go into this appointment is to build the relationship. Make sure you tell them why you're there. You know, I'm here because I love your company. I'm here because I love what you do, and make them feel good. Say things that you would like someone to say to you. Make sure that they're sincere and true. Then you voice your concerns. So say, you know, I really love your company. I really love what you do. I just have a concern in my life right now. Things are a little tight, and I'd really like to diversify my options as far as, you know, this company, as far as you are concerned. I'd like to open up some options for different types of payment plans, or different types of ways that we could work together that would benefit both of us. And after that, you know, stand your ground. Make sure that they know you're serious. I have, before I learned negotiations, a lot of time I have this problem with going into a negotiation and saying, I am sure that this is what I want. And then if they would give me like a weird look or like a cross eye, I would be like, well, but it can really be whatever you think is best. It's okay. Like, I'll do whatever you think. So I have this like habit of backward spiraling, and I've had to work that out. So stand your ground, be respectful, and make sure that they know you're there to solve their problem. They will appreciate it, and they will take you seriously. So after you work through this discussion with them, you will come to a point where where they either say yes or no, or you agree with the plan. Make sure you remember and bring up those plans that you were okay with, and then adjust them as you're talking with them. Try to solve their problem. Get to the end, and when you're fine with the deal, say, okay, that's really great. I am happy with this. Are you happy with this? Reiterate kind of what you understand the deal to be. Thank them for their time, and just let them know you're going to be sending an email that says, you know, the contents of the negotiation. You can make it more formal for the setting if you want, or something like an email and where they just respond back and say, I agree, that's also appropriate. And make sure before you leave that you say, in accordance to our agreement, I will get on the next 2 things that I promised you I would have. I will get them to you today or tomorrow. Give them a timeline, let them know you're serious and that you're really excited to work with them on this. So those are really good negotiation tips, and hopefully those will give you some ideas of, new ways for you to make your own business luck. Hard work and good effort through your skills and abilities is going to take you a long way, and people will see your sincerity and they will want to buy your product, and they'll remember you and they'll refer you to other people as well. So I will be free for any questions or comments that you guys have as well. If you have any right now, go ahead and put them in the chat, and I will answer them at the end, as well as these other wonderful speakers. So let's see. Since we don't have any questions in the chat right now, I'm going to turn the time over to Russell, and he will talk to us about HR small business tips for the next either millennial, our favorite buzzword right now, or the giga economy type of businesses.
Sure. Alrighty, my microphone's on, and I need to click on the screen to.
Yeah, so you can just do your screen share.
Okay, and I'm unmuted.
If you're ready.
Quick introduction. My name is Russell Wilkadu. I'm the HR guy for small business. Spent about many years, a couple decades or more in the corporate world. And about 13 years ago, decided to make a major shift, moved from North Carolina to Utah, got married, picked up 4 teenagers, and started a business all in 2 months. And then about a year later, had a little boy, 10 years ago now. But for the last 13 years, I've been working with small business owners, helping them to achieve their vision through other people. Because you have basically 2 choices. You can either take some approaches of having employees or contractors or collaborative efforts, or you can do it all yourself. And doing it all yourself limits the size of your business to your capacity. People are limited by their capability, by their commitment, and by their capacity. Capability is what you come to the table with. Commitment is what you decide to do. And capacity is how well you want to multiply your efforts through other people. So most of my career, I have been involved in the discipline of human resources. Let me pull a slide up here, Emily, if I can figure out how to do that again. And what human resources is basically, if you look at the evolution of human resources in a small business, whenever a business owner wants to increase their capacity, they say, oh, I need to hire somebody. Well, when you hire somebody, you immediately have to do what? Pay them. So personnel, the inner circle here, is about having them sign up for payroll, making sure you calculate their pay right, making sure that you give them a paycheck, that you, if you have benefits, that you enroll them in the benefits program, that you comply with federal law in terms of immigration law by making sure that they are who they are and that they have a legal right to work in this country. If it's a 1099 situation or an independent contractor, there's a whole slew of things that have to be done. But those are what I call paperwork. They're administration, and that's the small gray circle called personnel. The next step in the evolution of human resources is employee relations. Now you got the employee, what do you do with them? How do you keep them happy? How do you retain them? How do you deal with terminations? How do you deal with onboarding? All the things that involve the employee's relationship with the employer. So that's the next circle. Then the dark gray circle is human resources. When you get into strategy in terms of how you want to develop your team, how do you want to go through the life cycle of an employee? How does the human resource of a company contribute to the success of the company? So over the used to be when I started in the business, it was called personnel. And most business owners, when they say, oh yeah, I have an HR person, in reality, what they're doing is personnel work. They're doing the paperwork, the administration. If they're good, then they get involved in the employee relations side. The really, really good ones are strategic partners with the business owner. But it all comes down to how the company is led. It comes down to leadership. With that model worked really, really well in the traditional employee-employer relationship, when we were all working in the same place, when we were all dealing with employees right in front of us. Emily, you might want to help me keep time. I didn't notice when I started, and I could talk all day on this, if you would. But this is not the workforce today, is it? And it's evolving faster than I ever thought it would. In fact, I have a premise in the vision of my company: in another generation, office buildings will be obsolete. Does that make sense? If you think about what's happening now in the workforce with the cloud, with technology, with the ability to do what we're doing right now, we're having a meeting that typically everybody would have paid a big price to the airlines to fly in, stay in a hotel, find a meeting room, rent projection equipment, all that stuff. Well, in the new employment world, location doesn't matter. Unless you're a brick and mortar retailer, you have a store, or you have a restaurant, or you have a construction company, or a big manufacturing facility. A little bit different, but in the mental, let's see, you had the agriculture environment, the industrial environment, the knowledge environment. Now you're getting into the service environment. Now we're in the knowledge environment. What most of us do is sell our thoughts and our problem solving and our rational thinking. If you think about all software companies, all engineering companies, all marketing companies, they're not selling a tangible object, and they don't need to be tied to a desk in a location like we have been since the Industrial Revolution. So what does that mean to HR? What does that mean to the business owner who still needs to get things done through other people? It's called leadership. You notice all the other circles now are in essence gone, or they're blended into this concept of, I want to increase the size of my business beyond my personal capacity so that my passion can be spread worldwide. So how do you do that? How do you get things done through people who may or may not work with you, work for you? The other thing that's evolved in the last 10 years, if not the last 5 years, for years we've had employees and contractors. And there's 4 government agencies that monitor that relationship so that taxes are paid, labor laws are obeyed, workers' compensation is paid, liability is managed. And those rules are different if you're an employee or an independent contractor. And I don't have time in our session today to go through that, but now we have these things called the gig market. The gig market is, I'm going to hire this person to do this for me without any relationship whatsoever. Think Uber, think Lyft, think Odesk, if you're familiar with that. A lot of programming is done on a gig basis. I need this program debugged. You put it out on a site like Odesk, and people from all over the world say, I'll do that for this amount of money, and you bid and you choose the most qualified, least expensive vendor. But you still need, as an employee, as the person, the owner, the boss, to get things done right. So without going into any further depth, and certainly we can take questions later, I have come up with 4 questions. 4 questions, and they're worth millions of dollars, but because you're attending today, you get them at no additional cost. The 4 questions to get things done through other people successfully. They start with 2 premises before I get to the 2 questions. The first premise is that you selected this individual regardless of the employment status. When Emily and I started talking about doing this, she determined that I was qualified to do it. So the first premise is that you selected the person correctly, that they are capable, available, and willing to do it. If you can't pass that premise, you don't have any business doing business with them. The second premise is they want to do it correctly. Very, very rarely in my experience has an employee or a contractor come to work with the intent of deceiving the person who needs something done and intentionally screws it up. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it's very rare that the person who is engaged to do the project or to be the employee wants to be successful. Do you all agree with those premises? I think. So when that happens, I recommend these 4 questions in order. The first thing you need to do when you engage somebody is you clarify, once you've gone over the requirement, the assignment, you ask the question, do you understand what needs to be done? And that can be referenced in terms of quality, quantity, or timeliness. And there, quality and quality assume a service requirement. What is it that has to happen? So if I engage Uber Eats to bring me a pizza, then I tell Uber Eats that I want a such and such a pizza, this size, and I need it before the game starts. Then I have been very clear of what I want, when I want it, and the quality I want it to happen. I ask the question, did you get it? Do you understand? I go through a drive-in at a restaurant, I ask them to read the order back to me. So the confirmation that I have communicated what that person needs to do is essential. The second question is, do you have what you need to be successful? You as the delegator need to make sure they have the information, tools, knowledge, and resources to accomplish what it is they need to do. Because I may trust my doctor more than anybody on the planet, but I would not ask my doctor to work on my car because they don't have the knowledge to do that. And if I go to a mechanic and I have an electric vehicle and they don't have the equipment to fix an electric vehicle, then I don't go to that person. Do they have the knowledge, tools, and resources to do it? Notice what's not on here. And this comes to play with employees. I don't ask if they have the time, because I've covered that in the first one, haven't I? So when you have a person you've delegated to fail and they say, well, I didn't have time to get to that, well, then you missed the first question. Here's the time requirement. At that point, you settle their prioritization and make sure that you've set deadlines to get it in time to where you need it. The third question is so nonsensical or so obvious that we forget to ask this one. It's called, do you understand that you're the person who's responsible for doing this? Smack my head, of course. I wouldn't be talking to you if you weren't responsible. But what a lot of people, particularly employees and contractors that fail, they're ambiguous about who's going to do what. We have culturally adopted a practice of using the royal we. Let's go get this team. We're going to make it happen. Poor performers say, oh, we means you. I'm going to sit back and watch you fail. So you need to ask the question, and you put it in ways like, do you understand I am counting on you? I've brought you into this so that this gets done. No one's going to do it except you.
Okay, Russell, 2 minutes.
I'll take a minute. The fourth question is, I put it 2 different ways. Sometimes I say, what is your next step? What is your plan? You want to make sure that the next action moves them forward in the direction you established in the first 2 questions. So I often say, what are you going to do next? Tell me what your next step is. What's your overall for your plan to come into the project? And then I make sure that I confirm that they're directionally moving in the manner that I want. So there's a lot of things in there, but if you incorporate those 4 questions into every delegation or every assignment made, you greatly increase your ability to get things done to other people, which is leadership. One more slide in there, and that is if you want to get hold of me. I just messed it up. My website is thehrguide.biz, and there's a contact button right there you can get hold of me. So Emily, that's what I have. Any questions?
All right. I don't see any questions on the chat. So let's go to Kara. And then again, if you listeners have questions, push the little button that says chat at the bottom, like kind of middle to right-hand side of your screen, and feel free to type messages in there and we'll respond to them at the end. And
then go to the hrguide.biz and there's a contact me button.
That's right.
Thank you for your time, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. Okay, am I up on the screen?
You are, I see your face.
Hello. Okay, I'm Kara Turner. I currently work for the Department of Energy in cybersecurity. And in the past, I've worked for a small company with 5 people in cybersecurity called Critical Intelligence. It was a great company, and I loved my time there. Working for a small business was really, really fun. But we were acquired, and ultimately I've been acquired so many times that it's hard for me to keep count, because that's what happens in the software and cybersecurity world. So I've worked for everybody from that really small company to medium-sized small companies to Intel Security and McAfee and FireEye, some of the biggest names in cybersecurity. So, and of course, then now the government, I guess you can't get much bigger than that. But so anyways, I've got a lot of varied experience in cybersecurity, and I just want to hit home on 2 basic points that can really affect your business. So let me share my screen, and here we go. Okay. Okay, so with that introduction, I just want to share a little bit about why you should care about cybersecurity, for one thing. I think small businesses really underestimate how much of a target they are. So it depends on which statistics you're looking at, because everybody's got a different sample size and different people respond. But essentially the point is that small businesses typically have very little cybersecurity practice in place, and they are highly vulnerable. So attackers tend to go after them no matter how small they are, because they're very easy pickings. So we just want to talk about a couple things that will make you much more difficult targets. So just for your awareness, cyber attacks tend to cause small businesses between 84,000 and 148,000 or more. That's just an average of some people that reported the incident. That's not saying anyone who didn't, which there's tons of information that we don't have on that. So I don't know anybody who can freely shell out that kind of cash, but most small businesses can't. And because of that, about 60% of small businesses go out of business within 6 months of an attack. So now that we know that it's super important, I'm just going to move on to phishing. Phishing is one of the most important things that you can learn about. Phishing is essentially, people might have all kinds of crazy descriptions about it and make it sound really complicated and fancy and sophisticated, but really it's just tricking users into providing information or access. Now, this most often happens through phishing email, like the one that you see on the bottom of your screen, that fake UPS one. It looks fairly convincing. They've got the right color scheme. If you're not actually inspecting this, you would probably click on this, because for one thing, it says, oh no, your parcel was lost, so you should click on this and we'll help you find it. And so you're immediately feeling a sense of urgency, and you'll click on something that will then allow the bad guy to download a malicious file or send you to a bad website that will then download a malicious file. And then you'll get malware on your system. Or they might convince you to say, once you click on that link, they'll say, log in so we can help you. And then they'll just capture your username and password. And then they have all your information there. Generally, they can use that to then go find your credit card number somehow, either by calling into customer support of whatever account they've compromised, or a number of other means. So basically, number one is you just need to be really, really aware that this is out there and you're a target. So if you see this anatomy of a phishing email on the right, it will always contain some sort of link or an attachment. If it's text only, then it's probably not phishing, because there's not much of a point to it. Sometimes there's poor grammar and spelling, but that's not really the case anymore. Adversaries are getting much more sophisticated, And they're not only outsourcing this to people who don't speak English as a second language anymore, but now it's turning into a really successful business model to steal this information from people. So they're using more native English speakers, or wherever, whatever your native language is, they will send information targeted to you. So it will always request some kind of personal or sensitive information. Now this one doesn't look like it, but it's sending you to a link that will ask you to log in. So that will be collecting your username and password then. And it will always try to incur some kind of sense of urgency or some breach of your privacy. So this one is saying, it's Christmas time and your parcel's lost. So, oh no, you're immediately in panic mode. And what that does is that immediately kicks out the main thinking centers of our brain, so we're not thinking logically anymore, we're thinking emotionally. And what would your first emotional response be? Oh no, I have to fix this, I'm gonna click on that link. So I challenge everyone to just analyze your emails and make sure that you're thinking rationally about it. On the next page, we'll take a look at a few, just one more. So this is another pretty convincing Amazon one. So if you look at the content without the red boxes, number one, you see the Amazon logo, and we've all grown to learn and trust that, right? But if you actually look at, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but if you look at the email address, the source email address up at the top of the image, it says management@amazoncanada.ca. So they try to alter the URL or the web address just a little bit. So it looks almost right, but it's not quite there. So make sure that you're always checking the source email address. Additionally, they will always have some kind of link, and if you hover over that link, like the one you see in the bottom of the image here, it might say that it's going to a certain location, but if you hover over it with your mouse, then your mouse will pop up this little window that says this is where the link is really taking you. So if you just hover your mouse over those links, then you can see where it's actually going to take you, and make sure that those match. So those are two really easy things that will help you in registering or recognizing phishing. So just consider, we're going to look through this recognition list. Number one, is this email from a trusted source? So is it really from Amazon? Is it really from my partner company? Is it really from my bank? Or is it from some email address that I've never seen before and I don't recognize? And if the answer is no, that you don't recognize it, then number one is probably bad, just right off the bat. So then again, do the link hover your mouse over that link. Do not click on it, just hover. You don't have to press any buttons. And then see if it feels right. Again, in this email, they're trying to convince you that, oh no, your account has been hacked. So again, they're trying to invoke that emotional response that'll make you click on something without thinking. So if it doesn't feel right, just wait, think it out. And again, one more time, does it try to incite a scare or an excite tactic? Also, if you receive one of these that says, hey, you've been compromised in some way, then don't bother clicking the link there. Just go into the original website that you know and trust. So log into that one and then see if there's any problem there. So at least that way you're going straight to the source and you're not risking yourself going through a third party and giving them your information. There's also a great resource called PhishMe, and that's PHISH, me. PhishMe is a resource that allows you to craft your own fake phishing emails and send them out to your company. So it depends on your company size, but every large company I've worked for in the past few years has been using this to send them out for drills. So you get really used to recognizing those suspicious things in a safe environment. And then it sends off statistics to the business owner about how well your employees are doing. Now, this isn't so that you can punish people. This is so that you can teach them what the bad guys are doing, and so that they can just become aware of that. Now, for small businesses, PhishMe has free training that allows you to send off 12 of these a year. I think it's a really great resource, so I would highly encourage that you look into that. Even if you have a really small business, it's really good to do it just for yourself, just to make sure that it's always in the back of your brain. So I have a link there, and I will distribute this PowerPoint. I'll send it to Emily so that she can hand it out. Also, if you feel, if you're worried that you've clicked on a bad link, because it happens to all of us, it only has to work once on one person in the entire company to make your company vulnerable. So if you feel that, or you're concerned that you've clicked a malicious link, then right away go ahead and change passwords for any accounts, but do it on a different computer, because that one might already be compromised. So go to a different computer and change those passwords as fast as you can. And then just keep an eye on it and see if anything changes there. So that's basically what we can do for phishing. And feel free to call into the company and say, hey, I think that I fell victim to a phishing attack, and I really want your help in watching my account and seeing exactly if any suspicious behavior happens. And then they should be able to respond and let you know if there are any suspicious charges or anything like that. Okay, let's move on to ransomware. So this is the second big thing that I want small businesses to look out for. So ransomware, you've probably heard of by now. It's big in the news, especially the WannaCry ransomware, and there are some other big ones. But it's basically malware that infects your system. Malware is malicious software, I'm sorry. So malware that infects your system and encrypts your entire hard drive. So it says, I've stolen all your data and you can no longer access it unless you pay me this much money, generally in Bitcoin, so that it's not as traceable. So the adversary will bribe a user to pay up or lose your data forever. And the problem with that is that most users are pretty trusting because it looks like legitimate software. And so they think, well, maybe this is something legitimate. But so most users actually pay, but there's no guarantee in any way that the data will be returned. I promise you that if you see ransomware on your system, these people do not have your best interest at heart. You cannot trust them. I promise you that. So most of these companies, most of these ransomwares say that they have the ability to disable the encryption, but most of them haven't even programmed that in. So 1 in 4 paying users have never recovered their data. So just look at those statistics and think, wow, they probably don't actually care about me. So just be aware of that. So there are a couple statistics here that most phishing emails deliver ransomware. That's been the most successful tactic of adversaries. And 70% of infected businesses have paid the ransom, and you hardly ever get the information back. So I would encourage you not to pay the ransom and to take the next following steps so that you're a little bit prepared ahead of time. So number 1, we're going to skip to the second bullet. Prevention is key. So I've included a data backup article from CNET, so I would encourage you to go read that article. It includes information on different options for backing up your data and how you can do that with external hard drives and cloud storage. I would just encourage you to use multiple options. So you can have flash drives storing your most crucial data, like anything you need for taxes. I would keep multiples of those and store them in different locations. I would keep multiple external hard drives and back up my information, hopefully on a weekly basis, if not more often, depending on your data load and how much things change in your business. There are also plenty of other options, but that CNET article is a really great resource for you, so I encourage you to check that out. But just remember, don't pay it. And so if you look up in the top right-hand corner, this is an example of WannaCry, one of the most common ones that's been super successful. So it encrypts your entire drive, and it says, oh no, you only have 6 days and 23 hours until all your data is lost. And this is how you pay, and this is how you give us Bitcoin, and then everything will be better, we promise, because we're the bad guys and we're super trustworthy, right? So they've made this ransomware software into a serious business that is funded by mafias and criminal organizations everywhere. So if you trust the mafia, then I guess you can pay them if you want.
That's another version of passive income.
Yeah. I do not recommend it though, because FBI is getting really good at tracking those down.
Yes.
Okay, so I will wrap up. Oh, I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying 1 minute.
1 minute? Okay. I'll wrap up with some really quick tips, but I've included resources on the things that you probably don't know as much about. So use antivirus software. There are some great free options. Read that review from Tom's Hardware on that first link there. I personally use Avast, AVG, Panda. Those are great options. The Windows on your current system is good, but it's not enough. You need to have more than one. Use a firewall, read that review. That'll show you. Komodo is a really usable one that's great. So security, basically, you just need layered defenses. So just don't relax, because you know that once you're on the computer, you're in the hacker's domain. They know better than you do. So just make it more difficult for them and put up more and more barriers. So finally, to wrap up, I would just say scan any flash drives that you use, and make sure that your computers are regularly patched. Don't keep ignoring that Windows pop-up that says you need to patch. Just hit OK. Just bite the bullet and do it. And back up your data. And of course, change your passwords regularly, hopefully every about 3 months. And the longer a password, the better. Don't use great dictionary words. I can hack any dictionary word password in less than a second, and so can all the bad guys. So just watch out for that. Change your passwords, make them a little bit complicated, and keep them kind of long. And be suspicious of everything. So are there any questions?
Yes. Russell left a question about not paying. He says, one of my clients got hit with ransomware. Their system was locked until they paid. How would you handle?
Like I said, with ransomware, prevention is the real key. So there's honestly not a lot that you can do once ransomware hits. You can take it into Best Buy, the Geek Squad, and a few other things, and they might be able to decrypt it again for you, maybe. But really, your key is prevention right here. You need to have all your data backed up first. So
they were backed up, but it was an enterprise with about 50 desktops.
That's great.
They locked up all their servers.
Yeah, that's a problem. So once that happens, you just need to restore your backup. So you have to do a clean install of the operating system on those servers and then restore the data. So it's kind of an inconvenience, but it's so much better than paying out thousands and thousands of dollars. So
they paid it, they got it unlocked, but now they're concerned. Now they're in there, they've scrubbed everything, but it was pretty devastating.
Yeah. Once it's in your network, you have to be really incredibly vigilant and pretty much wipe and restore everything and hope that your backups are clean too. So it's really, really dangerous situation. So I would just say back up everything, keep everything up to date, and keep an eye on your antivirus and make sure that that's up to date as well. So
there is, I'm sure insurance you can purchase that actually pays the ransom.
Yeah, there are a few reputable companies that do that, and there are a lot of imposters. So make sure that you read a lot of reviews, because people are out there just trying to steal money right now. So make sure that it's a reputable company, and I would encourage things like LifeLock for personal identity theft, along those lines as well. But yeah, just make sure that people you know and trust also trust that company first.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kara and Russell, for your time today. We're going to go ahead and complete this conference. If there's anybody with any other questions that can shout them out real quick, we are happy to answer those. But I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up so we can get this on the Facebook Live and let more people have this knowledge as well. So thank you so much for your time today. And anyone whose email address we have is entered in the drawing for the free, Russell has free executive profiles that he's offering. I'm offering 2 consulting sessions free, and Kara is offering some turning chaos into order shirt on my behalf.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So, because she can't really offer the government or.
No,
So, all right. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you later. Please keep in touch. Let us know. I also have a survey I'm going to be sending out to let us know what you're interested in finding out more about, so that for our next conference we can do a good job and get you more information to help your small business. You can contact me with any questions at any time, and I can get the information for you if it's for technology, or if you have a question that you didn't ask Russell, his information is there. So let me know if you need anything besides that. Thanks so much. It was a great day, and we'll talk to you later.